Hello and welcome to the Gers TV. My name's Cy Leslie and I've got Gordy at the other end. How's things, mate?
I'm good. Be careful you're phrasing.
I just need to quickly change the banner on this. I've not updated the banner. 2 seconds. 2-1 Rangers versus St Etienne. Wasn't the greatest of games, mate, but it was a win. That's the most important thing. But there's a few concerns I'll speak about in a minute. However, they did get the victory. 2 penalties. They were definite penalties. What was your thoughts on the game?
I'll qualify everything I'm going to say tonight by using this phrase. It was just a friendly. As the late great Walter Smith did say years ago, though, so I've heard there's no such thing as a friendly for Rangers. But I will qualify in this day and age with Rangers and teams around the world. We can't read overly into it. However, even with that said, I think it's clear we still need to strengthen the team and we still need to bring in at least 2 or 3 players, if not more, especially if people are leaving, players are leaving. I mean, it was more an exercise in match fitness for me, but yeah, we didn't really seem to have a lot going to either win. I know Curtis was playing, and we played 2 up front, but if you play 2 up front, you really had to have a better service, and that's something the manager has to look at.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite glaringly obvious that they're still short in different parts of the field. But to be fair, the manager did mention that, which is important. But I still think the defence looked a bit shaky tonight at times. Romans had a terrible first half and no bad second half, but that's the worst I've seen him in the Rangers jersey. Left back McCrory, good defender, but he can't play a wing back role. He can't attack. He just doesn't look like any threat at all. And the middle of the defence, the pairing, is that going to work? I don't know, but I think it will. I think Fernandez and the big fella, I forgot his name now.
Godfrey.
Godfrey. I thought the 2 of them played all right, but it wasn't the greatest. And goalkeeper, Panda, not the best at distribution, to be fair, but he's not the worst either. And it was quite a good performance from him. Midfield, I thought we lacked any creativity in the midfield. We really need a box-to-box midfielder. And up front, second half is better than the first half, I would say. 2 penalties, definite penalties, but the goal we lost was pretty shit, to be honest. Terrible defending. I think the Derek McInnes' press conference after the game sums up how we all feel. We still need a few players. But I think he said 2 players short, maybe 3 by the weekend.
Yeah, I think he's fairly confident we'll have a couple of players in by the weekend. I think that we were missing a few players tonight. So Suter and Barron weren't in the team. They weren't kind of on the bench either, I don't believe, and they weren't anywhere to be seen. So
Barron was in the stand. Barron was in the director's box.
That's quite interesting. I don't know, is Barron injured? Because
I don't think that he's going to feature much with Rangers anymore, but I don't know. I don't think he's injured.
Yeah. Which is a shame. I thought Cam and Devlin played well. I don't really see much of a difference between Barron and Devlin, to be perfectly honest, but I could be wrong with that. But the exercise for me was just, these new players coming in, getting the first game under the belt at Ibrox. Seeing the stadium when it wasn't a full house, obviously, but that's good for them to get their first game under the belt. So I'm not overly concerned, but at the same time, it didn't fill me with like excitement either.
I mean, it was your typical pre-season friendly, to be fair. On the Cammy Devlin situation, you mentioned that a minute ago, and Connor Barron. Connor Barron's a good player. I do like the lad, and I like his attitude and I like his approach to the game. But Cammy Devlin's a better player, and tonight he only played for about half an hour or something, and he got man of the match. He's plenty of dig in him. I do think he'll be a marked man with Rangers. The SFA will sort that out. They won't want that type of player with Rangers. However, I thought the boy was outstanding in his application and his attitude. So far, he looks like the best signing that we've made. Shankland, didn't see a lot for Shankland, but he tried an effort in the second half that would have been probably been the goal of the season if it had went in. It was unlucky, about 40-50 yarder. But it wasn't the worst of performances, but it certainly wasn't the best. It'll be interesting because Derek McInnes, I didn't hear the press conference, I was on the scooter, Gordy, but McInnes says that the 2 or 3 came in and he's hit the post with a few, but he thinks there's going to be 2 at least in by the weekend. Who do we think they'll be?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of moving parts because the World Cup's just finished and you've got a lot of players and agents and managers and centre that probably at the World Cup. And there's still obviously this boy for Tromso, the midfielder. Their season's still ongoing. So they want to try and keep him for as long as possible. But I think it will be the guy from Tromso, Roald Dahl. No, not really, he's the author, but he seems to be a very good player. Scored an absolute screamer at the weekend there. So he's a creative score goals from, outside the box, which is something I think we've been missing for a good few years, actually. People like, consistently scoring for 25, 30 yards. So if we can get him in, and then, I don't know, I still think there's an outside chance of getting Mikey Moore back.
Aye. If they're going to get him back, when they get him in soon, then it was about this time last season we got him in it. We got him just before the start.
Possibly that might be why we're not signing another wing at the moment. I can't think of any other reason why we haven't brought anybody else in that one of those positions. To be perfectly honest with you, mate, it's obviously Tottenham have spent quite a lot of money. They've got a new manager in. They've spent hundreds of millions of pounds so far in the close season. So I don't think he's going to be featuring much. I think he's definitely going back out in loan, and it'd be great for us because we really need that. We really need creative players. For me, I've been saying it for a year and a half now. Diomande for me doesn't cut it. Cut this young boy a lot of pressure on him, and then Devlin's going to be further back in the pitch as well. So I would like to see us get a couple of creative players because we're crying out for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the game tonight, anybody that watched it will see that McInnes changed the formation. I think it was 4-4-2 that went to 4-3-3 second half, but there was no threat from the wingers at any point in the game. I would bite the hand off you to get Mikey Moore back for another season. I think Moore would be a sensation in that team. We seem to have we have a good balance in it of dig and playing for the jersey type players and guys that probably won't let you down, but they won't be overly excited. But there was very little entertainment. They need a showcase signing. They need a marquee signing. A player that's going to get people off their seats. I don't know who that's going to be, but I think they need to get it. They need somebody that can create a goal out of nothing. And if they don't get that, then it's going to be really boring football, I think, at times. And it's also going to be very tight games in Scotland. I'm not too worried about Europe, if I'm being honest with you. But I think we need to get an exciting midfield player. And I'd like to think that we've already identified him and he's ready to come in.
I think so. There's two. There's obviously the guy for Tromso, and there's the young Partizan Belgrade captain, who I think that's the kind of the exact model we should be buying. The Serbian player's great technical ability. He's already the captain of Partizan Belgrade, so it'd be great if we get somebody like that in. And Norway, Tromso, very technical team. Probably not heard of the boy before. I think it was supposed to come in January, but we delayed it. And then the change of manager as well. But we can get these two signings in, two centre midfielders. They're creative players, and I think they'll complement guys like Dan Neil and Cam Devlin really, really well. I know he played tonight, but I just don't see I don't see where Diomande plays. I don't see him as a ball winner in the midfield, and I don't see him as a box-to-box midfielder, and I don't see him as a number 10 behind the strikers. So I don't know. There's a good player in there somewhere, but I just don't know if maybe his natural position suits Rangers and suits Scottish football.
I get you. I didn't think he had a great game tonight, but I didn't think the midfield was that great. Diomande is part of the problem. We've got too many players to get rid of, and that's a job in itself. Whoever's going to be able to get rid of maybe 10 players for us in the next 6 weeks will be doing a miracle if they can get rid of them and get any kind of feedback. Diomande, I don't think he's good enough to play in that midfield, to be fair. Chikwani played tonight, didn't think he was great again. I don't think he's been a massive success since he's came for the mid-season. Dan Neil, I know it's very early, but to me he just looked like a Sunderland player tonight. I thought he offered very little. I know there's been a good reviews about him in the last few weeks in pre-season, but for what I've seen him tonight, I didn't rate him at all. No, I would say it wasn't any better than what I've seen this season. So I think that midfield role is vital that we get somebody in. Cammy Devlin will be a sensation with Rangers. I'm no doubt about that in terms of giving us that big and fight. But he's going to win the ball, and we need somebody he's going to give the ball to that can make goals, and somebody that can really get us off our seat. We need to get a proper quality midfielder in there, because that midfield's nowhere near good enough.
Yeah, so the guy is Dal from Tromsø, just checking there. I mean, you obviously want your ball winners like Dan Neil, or your fighters and aggressive players like Devlin, but they need somebody, as you said, mate, to pass the ball on to, and then link the midfield to the attack. And right now, for me, we've tried a few different players in there the last couple of years. No one's really made a success of it. Your players like Bezrami and Diomande, they haven't really cut it. I think they're individually decent players, and they probably do well in the rest of their careers. But I don't see them. Diomande is inconsistent. Bezrami didn't really have a lot of pace, so it's a shame, because I do in individual games I've seen them play well, but we just need that boy, that Dalford Tromsø will be absolutely a sensation at Rangers, because that's what we're trying out for. Yeah. As you see, somebody that gets sight 6 out, can get the ball, beat a couple of players, shoot it for 30 yards.
Yeah, no, I agree. But what I will say is, I don't think they're bad players. I agree with you. I don't think they're bad players, but we need to get rid of them. They've been here long enough, and they don't seem to be winners. We might be in a position where Raskin comes back next week, I believe. And I know everyone's talking about him leaving, but see if he doesn't leave and we don't get a midfielder in. That's a guy that went about, what is that, quarter-finals he got to in the World Cup. He's not that bad a player. He's got a lot of ability, and maybe he just needs the right manager to settle him in. However, there's big money to be sold out there. There's talking of Fernandez could still leave. Connor Barron could go. So there should be money available. They've got to be able to deal their way out of this to get that big signing in, I think. Yeah, Thelo Aasgaard came on tonight in midfield, and I thought I'm not his biggest fan, as you know, but I thought he actually had quite a good game. He scored the second penalty. And Miovski came on as well. There's so many men. I think there was something like 12 players on the bench tonight. We really need to get rid of some of these guys quick.
Yeah. I mean, that sums it up. You've hit the nail on the head. We've got all these players, and if they were that good, if they were that good players, you would have clubs queuing up to buy them. But that's evidence for me in itself. And plus, they're on, 30 grand, 25, 30 grand a week. No one's going to pay a fee for them and take on their wages. So we're looking at our losses. We've got rid of it, but it looks like Danilo might be going back to South America. We probably need to take a hit on that. Which we have. I mean, we won't get a transfer fee for him, so we get the wages off the book. That'd be something. But yeah, we've got 4 or 5 players there. For me, if we get a big money in for a big money offer for Fernandez, I would take it in a heartbeat. I don't want to upset MD or annoy MD watching, but he will be a good player. There's just something. I'm not excited. I don't feel comfortable with the idea of Fernandez being a main centre back for the season. I'm just not.
The other thing I would say tonight about Fernandez was his concentration levels can be terrible at times. I know he's got an ability to not concentrate and make it look as if he's lost the ball and win it back, but you can't continue that. And the better the footballers in Europe, he certainly can't get away with it. He does get away with Scottish football, but I agree with you there. If they get a big money deal in for him, I think he would go. I think Rangers would cash in on it. That's a job on its own. The other thing I've noted today, mate, was Simon Ireland as a new set-piece coach, and I noticed a difference at half-time. He had them on the park and they were practising different moves and different ideas for what I've seen in the past. I'm hoping this guy's going to be the man to give us proper set-pieces. Last season we went through a spell for about 4 weeks with the new set-piece. Scott Fry's name?
Yeah, Scott Fry, you're right. He did really well, yeah.
But then it just fizzled away again. So hopefully this boy can do something with him.
Yeah, I mean, he used to play for Blackburn, I believe, Simon Ireland, and
we got him for Barra-upon-Furness, so it's not a massive club, but I'd imagine that Derek McInnes knows who he is and knows all about him.
Yeah, he played in the Premier League. I think he might have been in the team that won the league with Blackburn many moons ago. I could be wrong with that, but yeah, you're right. Scott Fry came in with a great. We think we haven't scored a set piece for 18 months, and then this guy Scott Fry comes in. We scored maybe 5 or 6 weeks in a row, and
made the corners.
Then we went back to reverted to type for the end of the season. But I think every club now, every big club has got a set piece coach. So it'll be interesting to see his ideas. Look, I'm not overly concerned about the game today. We got the win. St Etienne are a decent team. They're not any mugs, but it was just the exercise really is just getting match fitness. I think we'll see probably a better performance on Sunday. But again, just going back to Aasgaard, I would get I think there's a good player in there. I really do. But again, I just don't think he's suited for this fast-paced Scottish football. I think he needs maybe time, loads of time in the ball to, control the ball, pick out a pass, whatever. He doesn't get that in Scotland, and he's not. I don't think he's been comfortable playing in Scotland. So
he proved in the World. He played in the World Cup here, didn't he? He done all right. He scored a goal, so he's obviously some kind of ability.
Yeah, and then Breum played for Albania and scored an absolute worldly goal against Italy in the first minute of the game a couple of years ago. And you think to yourself, what a guy, what a player we're getting here. And then for some reason they don't cut it. It's not to say they're bad players. I don't think for 1 second that guys like Diomande, Breum and Aasgaard are bad players. It's just I just don't think they've got the particular attributes that you need for playing at Rangers. And
the other argument as well is they might be good players, Gordy, but are they going to be Derek McInnes type players? Because he's going to have a different philosophy of football. I think it's going to be a wee bit close to the Walter Smith style. It might not be heavily entertaining, but it will get results. And I hope that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, and Aasgaard is a decent player in there, but I just don't think the Scottish game is for him. I think he likes more time in the ball, and you don't really get that with Scottish football that with 10 men behind the ball playing the low block, marking you out the game. So we need kind of dynamic, fast, technical players that can beat a couple of players and then find a pass. And I just don't see that in Aasgaard.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The next couple of days is going to be vital for Rangers season, I think, because when the manager comes out in a press conference and says we're expecting two players by the end of the week and 3 by next week, that tells me that he knows what we've seen tonight. It was quite concerning that we're not in our game yet. However, the 3 players, if they're the right 3 players, could be enough to change it. We just need to steady the ship. We need to get a bit of entertainment and we need to cause a danger. In terms of defence, it's still early doors with the defence. It's better than it was with Fernandes and Giga, I'll say that. But it's still early doors.
Yeah, I think we've got these players in that are kind of like more defensive minded and determined, and then we'll suit Derek McInnes mould, and we'll play for Gers like Dan Neil, Cammy Devlin, McCrory, etc. They come in and they're already in the club, so we've got a good foundation there, a good solid base. But we need to obviously look at some attacking players now and some creative players, because Friendly Curtis would be great, but I don't think Curtis is going to be. I don't think he's going to play every game this season. There's a lot of pressure put on the boy as well when he's still just a kid, effectively. So yeah, the sooner. I mean, Czerny, talking of him coming back, that's been going for the last couple of weeks now.
I wouldn't be against that. I think that would be a good move. You've also got Ant-Man. Remember, still on the Ant-Man was on the bench tonight.
Yeah, I don't think. Again, it's so maddening because it's going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I think there's a player in there as well. We just haven't seen it, and he's been here for the best part of a season now, almost a year. And if he's not starting to make it now, then he probably never will, which is unfortunate. Because I think he really tries, even when he goes on as a sub, he's always looking for the ball, which is great. He doesn't shy away.
So it's going to be an interesting few days, mate. Hopefully we get this the Dragon. I think we're going to call him a Dragon. Hopefully the Dragon signs by tomorrow afternoon or Friday. I think that'll be a good signing. Another leader, a captain, played for his international team. I think he'll be a good signing. And then who the other 2 players are, I've got really no idea. But let's hope they get them over the line, because if we don't get them over the line, then we're going to be chasing.
Yeah. So you get Dal for Tromso, who I think is a kind of player that can come in. He's the kind of profile you want. You can play for a couple of seasons and you'll sell him for 15-20 million. The same for the guy for Patterson Belgrade as well. Young guy, get a couple of seasons out of him, double your money. That's the trading model, and that would be really good, because these guys are still learning the game. But this guy is a sensation at Tromso, and the boy from Partizan's obviously their captain. So you're not getting the finished article, but you're getting pretty close to it.
But to be fair, it's the first game at Ibrox pre-season. It's still early doors. I know the season's creeping up on us quick. You know, I always like him on, but it's early doors still.
No.
The main thing is tonight we never get a defeat. We got a victory, 2 penalties, but it was 2 penalties, without a doubt. Scored them. Could have been better, but it could have been worse. West Ham on Sunday should be a tougher game though, and hopefully we've got a bigger selection of first team players in the squad who Derek McInnes wants in his team.
I'll be honest, I would rather it was 2-1 and there were still some cracks in the team, because I remember being a kid and watching Rangers beat Steaua Bucharest 4-0 in a friendly and think with my dad and my brother and I turned ourselves and went, we're going to win the Champions League European Cup this season, you know. And then I think we get packed out the qualifying round by IFK Gothenburg or something 2 weeks later. I can't quite remember. I might be mistaken there by like a season or something with whoever, or maybe Leska Sofia. It was like one at that era.
Sofia was the last kick of the ball. We get knocked out. Literally, they shot for the halfway line and scored in Sofia.
So I remember. So that's why I don't. Ever since then, I've been quite. I've not really wanted. I've not judged pre-season friendlies, because it's just two teams that are just getting in the grips of things and getting the match sharpness back. So, but at the same time, I think it's still pretty obvious that we need a couple of players in, and it's good that McInnes has addressed that. And I don't think McInnes would come out in a press conference after the game and say that if he wasn't pretty sure we're getting players in the next day or two.
Just a quick comment before we finish. Chick Sharps said something here that I agree with for watching the game tonight. Nadiri showed up better than Shankland, I thought. As I've said before, McCrory's not a right back, a midfielder have played. I honestly think that I agree with him. Nadiri had a really good game when he came on. Shankland was disappointing, although he took the penalty well, but I thought he was out of the game for most of it. The McCrory one's an interesting one for me. He can certainly tackle and he can play, but I don't know. I didn't feel comfortable with him at right back. Maybe that as a solution, put him into the midfield. He played in midfield with Aberdeen, didn't he?
Kind of anchor man, so I think he plays kind of like between defence and midfield kind of role. I think that he played a couple of great games for us in that position as well. So, but I think McInnes has brought him in because he's quite versatile, so you can play. You'll probably see McCrory filling in for injuries in a number of different positions. He'll be like the Jim Denny of 2026.
The one thing about him, he wants to be there, boy, he'll give him that. He wants to play with Rangers. We've got a lot of guys in that look as if they want to be there, they look happy. I was really impressed with Cammy Devlin. I thought his attitude, the way he played the game tonight and the way he got stuck in is probably something we've been missing for a long time. And when I was watching the game, I was even thinking him teaming up with Raskin might actually be a good combination if we don't bring another midfielder in. But we'll see. It's all going to happen the next couple of days. We'll see. But all in all, I wasn't that disappointed. But I was glad to get him. I was tired and I got him quite quick, so I was glad to get him and go on here and get a wee rant.
I think we'll be in a better position come Sunday for the West Ham game, and you'll see us being a little bit sharper, maybe a bit better on the possession on the ball. And remember, a lot of these players, it was their first run out at Ibrox as well, so they're probably a little bit nervous. They're probably a little bit nervous and anxiety in them as well, because you don't want to make a mistake your first game. So, not really overly concerned. Yeah, it'd be great to win 10-0 with, Shankland getting a hat-trick, Schmidt getting a hat-trick, and Derek getting a hat-trick, and then, our old favourite Diamandi scoring a goal. So it'd be great to win 10-0, 11-0, but that might even just paper over the cracks. So I would rather it was a game tonight where we win, get a little bit of confidence, get a little bit of match sharpness, then at the same time, the manager understands that from what the performance was tonight, we still need a couple of players.
Well, one thing I will say, mate, is I'm a hell of a lot happier tonight and a hell of a lot more comfortable than I was this time last year. Because you know how
you're looking at it because you got a big smile on your face. You always have to say.
Well, you know how angry I was last year when we signed Russell Martin. I fell out with people, Eric. It's just as soon as I heard the name, as soon as I seen his appearance, as soon as I seen his demeanour and his approach and attitude towards Rangers Football Club, and then when I saw Derek McInnes tonight, and a really, really warm night, all suited and booted, looking like a Rangers manager, at least I knew we're in good hands. It's going to take a while to get used to a new style of play. He's got to get his players ready. He's got to get them playing the way he wants them to play. It's going to take a while. The support need to stand by him, but I think we're going to get that, mate. I think we're going to be all right. I think this is going to be a good season for us.
Yeah, check sharp. We beat this. I don't know if you've seen it at the start, check, but me and Simon both said that St Etienne are a good team. There's no getting away for that. So
good football team.
Yeah, good test, very technical, and they've got some good players, and they'll do well this season as well. So
what I will say about that, Gordy, what I will say about Chick's right there as well. I don't think, forgetting about Europe, talking about Scottish football, we'll not play against many teams that play that kind of style of football. Most of them will play more negative. So that's a different, it's a hard way to judge how we'll play in the league. It's just, in terms of the Scottish game, most teams will be less. I thought St Etienne at times their passing was great, but they looked deadly at times with some of their long balls that they played. There's not many teams will do that at Ibrox for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good team, good outfit, good players, good technical ability, and it's a worthwhile exercise. And we've come out okay. It's a friendly. We don't really read too much into the result. I don't even think you can read too much into the performance overall. Yeah, you can look at it from a bigger picture and say we're still missing a couple of players, but I don't think anyone played particularly bad. I think Robin's maybe first half, as you said, but I don't think MD else played particularly poorly.
Also, the injuries is a big thing for us. We didn't get injuries because McCrory, there was a really bad tackle in the second half on McCrory, 2-footed tackle. The boy should have been sent off for it at the main stand side. But to be fair to McCrory, just got back up, shoved it off and got on with it. So, all in all, mate, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, Ryan, hope you're well, mate, and enjoying your food.
I don't know, is that he's on the Pecora? Is that what he's saying? I'm starving as well. Don't start. I'm on a diet.
As Chick's agreeing with you there, Simon, saying all the teams in Scotland are much worse than St Etienne, which they are. And
it's true,
looking at the teams, looking at our teams in Scotland, I mean, Hearts look like gone, to be honest. I know it's a shame because, well, it's not really a shame because we really look after ourselves, but they were destroyed last night. I watched the first, they actually played well for the first 5 minutes, then they were terrible. They look as if they're going to be a shadow of the team. And I can't see Claudio Braga sitting in that team much longer. So it might even be Claudio Braga we bring in this week.
The only thing with that is, God, is if you remember last season as well, Hearts got knocked out of Europe, didn't they very early? Yeah. And that suited them because they're not big enough club to, if they're going to compete for a league title, which they did, to be fair, if they're going to compete for that, they're not big enough to do well in Europe. Their squad's just not strong enough at times. But I think Hearts will still be a good set-up next season, and they'll be a threat. So they'll get really bad hay fever. I think they'll be a threat, and they'll still be competing against us. However, I'm quite confident we're one quality midfielder short of a very good and exciting Rangers team, and that's a box-to-box midfielder. Hopefully that signs in the next 24 to 48 hours, mate.
Yeah, and add in Cherny or Mikey Moore to the mix, and I think they'll be okay.
I agree with that. Chick's just saying he's happy with that. Ryan's telling us he's eating the Pecora. And get Cherny, and we mentioned Cherny earlier on, mate. Anything else you want to add? I'm going to go to my sack soon. I'm shattered.
Well, it's good to be back. Obviously, it's been a long sort of World Cup. It's obviously been interesting to watch. Good to see Raskin and Aasgaard have a good World Cup. Put some millions on their value, hopefully. And just good to be back. And Gers TV's had a good summer as well. We're really looking forward to the new season as well. So I'm excited, and let's hope that the team on the park will do us proud this year.
I think the one thing is the supporter are a lot more confident than they were last year. Something I will add, nobody's mentioned it yet. There is other things happening today, obviously, with the farcical statements with the SFA and the treatment of Rangers again. But I think that's another show for maybe tomorrow afternoon or Friday night, because if I start ranting and raving about the absolute shambles that is Scottish football, I'll be here all night. And I haven't get the energy. When
we need to do a GoFundMe for Broxy Bears bail money.
Honestly, there's no other league in the world. There is no other league in the world.
You laugh at it, but then you look at it, then you go, "This is what they're actually saying." And on one level, it's deadly serious, but then you take a step back, you look at it and go, "Is this actually serious?" Like it's mad.
Celtic fans invade the park 4 weeks in a row. They cause a riot. The force their way into the stadium. They vandalise Ibrox, and the SFA blames the Rangers Football Club for playing Rangers songs and the mascot for enjoying himself.
before the game, like obviously it was like the game lasted 90 minutes plus half time, then the injury extra time and then penalties. So they had 2 hours to calm down after Broxy Bear had annoyed them. 2 hours to calm down, and Broxy Bears. I mean, it's just I can't even. To be honest, I can't really talk about it because
another day, mate. We'll have a wee chat about that after Friday night.
Just good exercise for the lad and still what to do. Barron, Danilo, and Cifuentes. I mean, we also get about Cifuentes, but he's still on the book. So Ryan, good point there, mate. Get them moved on. So I think there's still quite a few players to leave the club, and I hate using the word hopefully, but I think with some of the players, their time has come and they have to move on. So. As soon as that can be done. But
got there a quick example of that, mate. As I watched Barron in the stand tonight, doing autographs at half time. He's in the. I sit behind the directors' box, as you know, and unfortunately, all roads must end at some time. And he's a good lad, but I think his time's up with Rangers. Raskin, a really good football player. His time's probably up, and I'm not 100% sure if I agree with you, but I understand what you're saying about Fernandes. If McInnes doesn't want him, he's a manager, we have to trust him, and he's got to get rid of the players that he doesn't fancy. There was something like 12 or 13 subs on the bench tonight, and Barron wasn't one of them. That tells me that he won't feature much more under McInnes, mate.
Yeah, and just a wee hello to Alex Kelly, finally good friend of the show, watching just logged in there. So, hi Alex.
He's put a comment, I'll just put in before we finish up. So I think that's us for the night anyway. New layout, new ideas for the show. It's all going to change next week. It's going to be a really busy season, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I was at the game tonight. Standard wasn't great, but it's about getting the minutes in the legs and relationships built. That's a good point, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely, totally, and that's what we're saying. Like, I wouldn't read overly into the result, overly into the performance. However, I think McInnes knows himself as a couple of players, and he said that after the game. So no concerns, and it was good to be back at Ibrox and good to see the team.
Just on what Chick Sharp's saying as well. By the way, the man of the match was probably Broxy Bear the night. He was up at the Union Bears and all that.
You'll get him arrested. Stop it.
Seriously, he's up with the Union Bears and stuff like that. Because I think everybody at Rangers is just thinking to themselves, what a shit show authorities are. The SFA are not fit for purpose. But anyway, mate, have a good night.
Yeah, and you, and free the Broxy one.
All right, pal. Catch you later. We are the people.